Awesome. Welcome, everyone, to the Recovery Unfiltered podcast.
My name is Nick Bantozzi.
And my name is Will Cashman. And we want to start this episode out by first thanking our listeners. What gratitude we have that you have joined us this far. Thank you so much for all the support between Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. We are so grateful, truly.
Yes, thank you very much, listeners. We really do appreciate this.
Yeah, this is cool. I think last week I talked about like we're 4 weeks into this. We're 4 weeks into this, Nick, and
this is crazy.
It's blown up, and I'm very grateful for that. It was unexpected. I figured this was going to be like hey, Nick, we're going to talk and have fun and do all these things and whatever. It's not that we're not having fun, but it's just incredible. We have some very exciting guests coming up. Again, people that I never would have imagined. Just saying, yeah, we want to be on this, so the collaborations I'm so grateful for. And it reminds me that there is a world out there and that world actually does have love in it. So I'm very, very excited for our upcoming guests. We don't have a guest for tonight, but we do have a topic. I'm saying it like, it's a surprise, but it's really not. If you follow us on Facebook, you already know the topic. And that topic today is 13th stepping the newcomer. And in its shortest, most generalized term, Nick, I think we have to kind of like say this together. I think we know the definition. There's this generalized definition of it. And what is it, Nick?
Fucking the newcomer.
Yeah, okay. I am so glad we're on the same page. That's really not all that it is, though. Before we get into that like clinical side, what does 13 stepping the newcomer look like for you? Do you have experience on this?
I do. I have a couple of experiences that I am not proud of. And I'll to get really vulnerable here.
Yay! Because that's what we do, because it's unfiltered. All right, so tell us all about it. I'm curious.
All right, so in early recovery, I started out at a 60-day program and then went to a facility for sober living. And we would go to PHP at a different building, and we'd have to take a bus to get there. And at like 6 a.m. And
Okay.
This is the guy that I kind of latched onto because I knew him. I couldn't remember how I knew him. Drugs, but
okay.
I knew him. And it took me like a month to realize who he was. But I was following him around like a puppy dog. And so we were on the bus, and on the way to PHP again at 6 a.m. And just kind of we're in the back, kind of like snuggled, sleeping, kind of like the rest of everyone else in the bus. We were all just still half asleep. And then it kind of led into a little bit of something more of a little bit of a rubber depends and
okay.
And that was my first experience of 13th stepping in recovery.
Okay.
Yeah. And he had a boyfriend.
Oh my God.
And he had a boyfriend.
Girl, let me tell you what. So, what? Okay.
Yeah.
I have questions, but I don't know if it's meant for this episode. But that's okay. Well, okay. So were they in early recovery? Like they had just entered the program, right?
He was there before me, so he had been there just like a little bit longer, but he was still in early recovery as well.
Okay. So, man, this sounds a little bit like our codependency episode, but we're gonna get into that. But it also sounds like active addiction behaviors.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I mean, in early recovery, like being stripped of the one thing that I was so used to using to approach my feelings in my own way. And then, like I said, being stripped of it and trying something new and different, and then going into this life without having that, those behaviors just kind of stuck for a little bit until I worked my program and worked a little further and figured out who I wanted to be. That is not who I wanted
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah. Okay. That's valid. So I like the I want to talk about the active addiction part of this behavior. Uh, when it comes to active addiction, and for those of us that are listening and either have experience with active addiction or have gone through it or seen it from the other side, one of those behaviors a lot of times is that we engage in sexual activity, risky behaviors. I mean, alongside using drugs, because that's already the biggest risky behavior. But when we take away the drugs, we have nothing else to do, uh, which kind of leaves us with, hey, now what do we do? But it also takes away, how do we process emotions? How do we process feeling connected or not alone? And when it early recovery, it's very easy to latch onto someone or get involved into something without really thinking through it and going, okay, is this actually beneficial to my recovery, or is this going to affect my recovery? So now that's where my a question pops up. Did this affect your recovery in any way while you were at this treatment center?
um, I want to say more morally, um, but it was funny because the director and the other staff there kind of saw how I was following him around, like I said, like a puppy dog, and they put us on what they call a scissor contract. Wink.
Okay.
And basically
Okay.
what that entails.
Wait. Oh, yeah. Thank you. I was gonna say you have to tell us what this means, because like I think I know what it means, but okay. So scissor
Yes.
contract. What is this all about?
So a scissor contract is basically where you cut ties with that person. They make you like sign something and that you are not allowed to sit next to them. You're not allowed to talk to them. You're not allowed to be at the same table as them. Like you are not allowed any conver- conversation or anything whatsoever. And at the time,
Wow.
I was super pissed. I was like, you took away the one person that I knew in this place, in this new kind of life. Like, why would you do that to me?
Hmm.
You know,
Okay.
because it's all about me. And
Yep.
and he told me, I went to the director specifically, and he was like, well, he goes, think about it this way. He's like, you are literally always around him. You're following him around, and you need to learn how to stand on your own 2 feet. And
Yes.
again, I was still really pissed, but I understood. And I immediately went to my room and journaled about it. I'm like, I am so freaking pissed.
Like I'm so pissed. I love it. I love that.
But I was just so angry. And it took a minute. Like, it wasn't like the next day. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, it took like a couple days, if not like a week and a half or so, to be like, okay, where I started to mingle with new people and not just be latched onto that group because I to be quite honest, I'm glad he did that because I think those people have now gone back out.
Okay.
So I'm so grateful that he did that to me. I mean, with me not even being open to it in the beginning, but I mean, I had kind of had no other choice, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I had a choice, but I chose to actually try something different. And that's the way that I followed. And I'm glad because I wouldn't be here today.
You just pointed something out. Glad that you tried something different. I think again, going back to like when we first enter recovery, some of us come in, we don't know that there is a different behavior, or we might know that the different behavior exists. We just don't know how to practice it because of what we are used to doing. So when we're lacking connection, we're going to seek it. That's what we did. So someone that shows us even the smidge of attention, oh my God, it's on. Like, oh, they love me, you know? And I think that's where it ties into the codependency. But I think it's that limerence side of codependency where it's like, once they shake my hand or something else, I imagine I'm on the top of the Millennium Force with them and I'm wooing them and I'm picturing our wedding and all the things. And I forget that I'm in the back of a van headed to go to PHP, you know? But it's very easy to do that in early recovery. My experience is a little different because I was already in a relationship at the time that I went to jail. So this is a weird topic for me because from my perspective, 13 stepping, I watch it happen around me. One of the things that makes it difficult for me on this topic for this episode is I see it all around me rather than being in the grips of it. So can I tie in the neuroscience behind this? Because I love me some
Please
neuroscience.
do.
Okay. So we took the neuroscience break in the last episode too. But we're doing it early on today. So something I really like to point out all the time is our brains do not care about accuracy whatsoever. They don't care. It just does not care. It cares about consistency. So think of it as a computer, 101010. If that code changes to 11001010, the brain didn't pick it up. It didn't care. It just said, oh, it looks like it. Keep going. But if that happens consistently, where that code changes to 11001010, and then it happens again, 11001010, over time, the brain is going to pick that up. And those are called new behaviors. Sound familiar? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So if we are coming out of active addiction and we are used to 10101010, jump into a relationship, jump into the bed, jump in between the sheets, if there are any sheets, we know. If you know, you know, and you're listening and you know. But if that is the behavior that we are consistent with, then that is the behavior that we will repeat, which is why a newcomer is so vulnerable. And dare I say it, easier to be targeted? Is that the word I want to use? I think targeted, coerced.
Yeah.
Because if you think about someone that is in like the later stage of recovery, maybe not even the later stage, but like a middle stage of recovery, which is like, nearing a year, 2 years, even 3 years, they can relate to, hey, I remember when I felt like that. And I remember like, how vulnerable I felt. So then it's easier to play on that vulnerability. And then it becomes manipulation, coercion, and a tactic to play on their weakness, so to speak. And I'm not calling the newcomer weak, but the weakness is that vulnerability coming into the rooms, coming into a treatment center, or even recovery housing. I've seen it happen there too, where I used to work without saying a name. So can you really, we know, yeah, we know. But anyways, I cannot say more than that because I really just do not want a lawsuit on that for what is it, defamation of character, libel, all those things. But we know it exists. Anyways, so with that consistency that I was talking about, can you relate to that when you first got to that treatment center and there was someone else that was attracted to you and you found them attracted? What was that consistency? What did it feel like?
It was kind of like a familiar. It felt familiar, but at the same time, it was different. I know it kind of happened to me, I'm going to say 4 times in kind of, yeah, 3, 3 in early recovery.
Oh my
3 in
God.
very
Okay.
early recovery. But yeah, I mean, just that little bit of attention, kind of, it kind of in a way grounded me. And like we said, it feels good.
Oh my gosh. You just said the key words. It feels good. it inherently feels good. Sorry to cut you off, but that was the ding, 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 ding of why this exists, because it feels good. Why did we use drugs?
Because it feels good.
Yeah, I cannot sit here and tell you that I don't want to use drugs. The desire is gone. I know what comes after it, but if I was given the opportunity every single day to do it and I didn't have any of the rest of my life going on like I do today, then my answer would probably be like, hell yeah, bring on the drugs, because I like to do drugs. I don't do drugs anymore. So if you're listening, I don't like doing drugs because I don't do drugs anymore. But that's a key factor in this is it feels good. The brain likes things that feel good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know you know what I mean. I don't know why
I
I'm
do know
asking you
what
that.
you mean.
Yeah. So early recovery, our emotions are whack because they're all over the board. We can trying to regulate what we're feeling and then tie it to like a feeling or a thought. It almost is non-existent because we've been operating on survival mode. Survival is that midbrain, and Dr. Nicole Labor talks about this in detail, like explicit detail about how this all works. Like this is the tiger, the survival tiger. So we make our decisions based on what does the tiger need to eat right now, you know? So it's going to say, oh, hey, drugs. Okay, cool. Or sex. Okay, cool. Let's do that because it needs to feel good. It needs some sort of validation. So these behaviors in early recovery, they're very easy to get right back into and not even touch a drug.
We
Okay.
want what we want when we want it.
Yeah, I hate that.
What's crazy is when you said that, like, well, one, you hit the validation point again.
Valid.
And I don't know, like, I just can't believe that the way that, you used to live, the way that I used to live, the way you used to live, like, it is amazing how you don't have to do that anymore. Those
Oh my
people, those
God.
places, those things.
Say
You just
it.
don't
We
have
don't
to
have to
do it.
live like that anymore.
We don't have to live like that anymore, and it is beautiful.
And if you're
Life
listening, you
sucks
don't have to
sometimes.
live like that. It's so true. But in early recovery, is that what we're thinking?
No. No, and you
No.
know what? I think I said this last podcast. I've been watching a lot of vampire shows lately, so, like, that transition listen to this, though. This is crazy how, like, it corresponds. So how a new vampire, their sightings are immediately heightened. In early recovery, all of those emotions are coming back, so the senses are overloaded, and you're like, "Oh my god, I don't know which way to go. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that." Like, and it's on overload because I want what I want when I want it, and that's what I wanted at the time without thinking of the consequences, which is what I was used to.
I want to touch on another thing because you just said it. Um, I want everything right now, and it doesn't pertain just to I want to feel good. Sometimes, and I see this a lot, like in my work, and even when I worked in recovery housing and then residential treatment center in Cleveland. Sometimes we have people come in and they don't have anything. They've got the clothes on their back, possibly the shoes on their feet. Um, so they are limited as far as resources. That becomes a barrier to them. So somebody that has those resources is someone that they will latch onto because that is their mechanism to, I need these personal essentials, whether it's clothing, food bag, whatever it is, and then they latch onto that. But that can become a codependent cycle. And I've seen it. I remember working, at the treatment center in Cleveland, and I would get these complaints from clients that would say like, oh my God, they keep asking me for stuff. It's like, can't you just get your own stuff? I was like, do you keep giving it to them? They're like, well, yeah, because they need it. I was like, okay, then guess what, Miss Enabler? Like, here we go. Like, you're in early recovery. You need that stuff. Stop giving it away. Like, I understand the premise of like wanting to help someone, but you can feed that trap of codependency just by saying, oh, well, it was just, it was an apple. Okay, well, you just taught them again that you're the guy or the girl or, whoever it is with the apple. So the next time you have an apple, they're going to say, oh, can I have an apple? Can I have an apple? But it also, again, relates back to the brain and consistency. There it is again. So if a newcomer coming into the rooms, whether it's like a 12-step recovery housing, clinical treatment, the person that has the stuff is the person that they will latch onto, very much like active addiction. Why do we keep going back to the same drug dealer? Because they had the stuff that made us feel good. Same thing with the sexual behavior. Well, that's what I was used to, and they're the ones that can provide it. Yay!
Yep.
So then that's who I latch
Boundaries.
onto. Yeah, the lack of boundaries. So, good point right there. Yeah, those boundaries are special. When I want to go back to that chart that, I almost said his name. That person,
Yes.
the
Yes.
director of this treatment center showed you.
Mm-hmm.
You said I had to learn how to stand on my own 2 feet. How did you get to that point where you were able to recognize that is not, or that is the way that my recovery is going to work?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, so once I started, because like standing on my own 2 feet is very uncomfortable. Because I'm a horrible decision maker. I'm a little shy at first, so like breaking over and breaking through that boundary right there, or yeah, just that's hard for me to do. So just breaking through that in general was hard. So once I was kind of forced to, um, I I realized like, I can actually be a person and,
Mm,
actually go and introduce myself to these new people, and I can sit down and I can laugh and have a conversation, and I can start to kind of be myself, and I can do all this. And it helped my recovery, and it helped with my step work too, because the more that I was started to be my true self, the more I was able to be more honest with myself, which made me answer all those questions so much more honestly. And every time
yeah.
I finished a step, it was like a weight lifted off of me. It really, for me, it was such a magical thing to be able to feel all this stuff and all this weight being lifted, all the stuff that I planned on carrying to my grave. Because I didn't want to tell anybody. And I'm so grateful for my sponsor. Thank you, buddy. I love you.
Hell yeah.
um,
He's going to be a
because I
guest
was
on
able
here.
to trust him, and he was able to relate, and he was able to be able to tell me that I'm not alone. Like, he went through a lot of similar things. Our stories are completely different, but all those feelings that we both felt were the same. And
Mm-hmm.
that's that connection that I was able to start bringing into, meetings and rooms and with other people. Instead of finding those differences, I was able to find how I was alike, which helped me admit that I'm an addict.
Yeah. How easy is it to find connection like that, deeper, like true, honest connection when you have someone laying on top of you? I mean, that's the reality of what 13 stepping is all about, is
Yeah.
the person that is taking advantage of the newcomer, you are stifling them. And this is a shout out, because if you can relate to this as a 13 stepper, I'm talking to you. You are preventing someone from experiencing their recovery by stifling them and staying on top of them. Get the fuck off of them. Leave them the fuck alone. You do not have control over their vulnerability. That is something that they are still working through, and understanding why it even exists and why they feel scared and why they are, attracted to someone that is helping them in whatever capacity that is. So if you are part of the problem, stop being part of the problem, please. Please. Okay.
He asked nicely once.
Don't make me ask again, because I'm going to get real mad. But that is a reality of what 13 stepping does. So I want to transition this into the actual risk of what happens. And we know the definite risk, the all apparent, like, total consequence of 13 stepping the newcomer, and that is relapse. That's the big one. But there are a lot of other consequences along the way. And the first one is distraction,
Mm. Yeah.
big time distraction. Because if you are in the back of a van on the way to PHP, getting a handy or whatever, are you working on your step work?
Yeesh.
Yeah. Or are
Yeah.
you, preparing yourself for 6 hours of PHP? Like, no, you're not. Are
Oh,
you focusing?
no.
You're not focusing, and the easy solution to this is boundaries. I know, but it is so difficult to do that, especially in early recovery because of that vulnerability. I will say that until I'm blue in the face. Vulnerability, vulnerability. I think this whole episode has already been about vulnerability as well as codependency. But
Yeah.
these individuals that show up and start becoming predatory on people that are in early recovery, you are stifling them in their forward progression through early recovery, which is the most significant part of recovery because it's the make or break point.
Mm. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And I see it a lot. It's unfortunate. And I want to there's other risks. So we talked about distraction. Um there's the codependency thing where once you've given me the apple, I'm going to assume that you are always going to give me an apple, whatever it is. Apple, the hand job, the whatever. You are the sole source for that until I find someone else that can do the same thing. And I'm not relearning or learning a different type of behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when you started, you already described that when you connected the two dots and you're like, okay, I need to stand on my own 2 feet, as bad as it hurts or uncomfortable as it is. What did that progression look like um after you started doing that step work and that weight started to like lift off of you? How did you start to approach people that might have started to do the same thing where they're like, hey, you want to go do this and whatever? What was your approach to that?
Well, I was definitely a little bit more hesitant. Um, I was able to stop and think
Ooh,
about what I really wanted, and how I was able to kind of put myself in the future me and be like, okay, well, how am I going to feel after this? Am I going to feel good about myself? If I am I going to be like, should I tell somebody not to say anything if they saw like, I all of those questions that I would have to ask myself,
hmm.
and it just became too much. Like, why would I want to put myself through that just to get a little something something? Like, why? Why would I do that? So that's when I kind of started telling myself, I'm like, okay, if somebody approaches me and wants something more, or if I think someone is cute, how am I going to handle this situation?
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to approach it in a way differently than I have before? And I handled it with care. And there was another person that I really liked. We got along really well. He kind of got me the courage to get up and sing at karaoke night at our sober house.
Hell yeah.
Kelly Clarkson, love you.
Oh my God. Love that.
Hope to have you on soon.
Right.
That
Kelly, if you're listening, since you've been gone, we want you back. See what I did there?
was good.
Yeah.
But, something happened, they went back out, and I found out a couple of other things that happened behind the scenes, and even with, my sponsor, and I was just like I was so, like my heart just kind of, like, dropped, and, like, I was like, "How do I handle this? What do I do? Like, why did I do this? Why did I put myself in this position again?" All those questions that I didn't want to have, I ended up having to deal with, you know, and but I got through it clean. I talked about it, which was the main thing because before it would just stay up in my head, which is not a safe place to be in early recovery, especially. I talked about it. I went through the emotions like a normal human being. you know?
Whatever normal is.
Yeah, whatever that is,
Yeah,
but
what's normal?
my normal is not your normal.
Yeah, right, right. It's like 50 shades darker.
In the back of a
Ah,
van.
yeah, in the back of a van on the way to PHP. Nick, you hit another really good point, and I see this a lot. Um, and you've heard the term treatment boyfriend, treatment girlfriend.
No, actually, I haven't.
Oh my God. Okay. This is okay. So when entering treatment, there are co-ed facilities, where, where you can interact with the men or the women or whatever genders are there. And a lot of times what we'll see is that connection where the scissor contract does not exist and those boundaries aren't in place or that protection is not in place. And what happens is the dynamic of the one partner, one treatment side of, the relationship, um, they get the hankering and say, I don't want to be here anymore. And they jump ship and they leave the treatment center. And then we watch the other one leave with them. And then you end up with two people that return to use, relapse. And that's another dangerous situation because sometimes we see that neither one of them come back because they don't. And we know I don't have to get into the details on that, um, because that becomes the sole focus of their recovery or their using. Because if they return to use, then one can't keep the other clean. Personal recovery is personal, but it has to be done in a safe place, an atmosphere of recovery. And then the other thing that I wanted to point out is when there's situations too where that one side will leave and then the other side will be like, oh, I'm not going with them, screw that. But then their treatment episode tanks because they miss them or whatever. So then they stop participating in their own treatment and ultimately either get discharged from treatment because they're not participating,
Mhm.
or as soon as they leave, they go find that partner that, their treatment girlfriend and head right back out. So this is a dangerous thing. Relapse is definitely one of the greatest risks of this 13 stepping, but then there's also, like I said, that distraction side of it. It's the vulnerability side. It's codependency. It's, you're not giving that newcomer an opportunity to recover. Let the newcomer recover, like let them recover, you know? Um, they're the ones that, they are the most vulnerable. So I also want to talk about the the actual 13 stepper themselves. And I often question, like, when I see this happen, it's like, where was your program? Where was your sponsor? Why are you not working something that says, like, you should know better than this? And I think
Mhm.
it kind of goes back to that, oh, well, it feels good. Well,
Yeah.
okay, but there's a reason why we say, like, hold off on that relationship in that first year. And that brings
Yeah.
us into the second part of this topic. Why do we say that?
Well,
Hmm.
me
I,
personally.
I want the personal side of this, but then I'm also I have to throw in the clinical side of this.
Okay.
So tell me about
So
this.
me personally, that first year, well, those first 10 months, um,
Oh my God.
I did not mean to not follow that whatsoever. It literally just kind of happened. We went out, had a good time, and we just started spending time together, and it seemed really good, you know? It felt good, you know?
Yeah.
And that person had, I think, had 18 months, I believe, and I had 10 months.
Okay.
And, yeah, and they actually ended up going back out while I was still, in treatment. And it was so weird, and I think I talked about this before. They
Hmm.
disappeared for 2 days, and then they came back and, I was like, "I'm here for you, whatever you need." And they said, "Well, yeah, but not as a boyfriend," and before I could answer, or think about it, the answer no came out of my mouth. And that
Yeah.
was my program working itself through me, because inside I knew what I didn't need. And it was that.
At 10 months, at 10 months. So yes, you were two months shy of that first year, but the 10-month thing, you had a lot more recovery under your belt than just a 90-day treatment program or a 60-day or even a 30-day IOP program. So you had boundaries, you knew things, and you were starting to use them. Those skills, the coping skills, the boundaries, how to tell the truth, how to advocate for yourself and say, no, this is not something that I'm going to allow. Be gone. Have a good day. I can't associate with this. So let's talk about the clinical side. Okay.
After you, sir.
And that was, I mean, that's exactly it right there. So you know how, okay, there's a fellowship that gives out key tags. Okay. And that first key tag in this fellowship is white, which means a clean slate, which means, and dare I say it, this is unfiltered. So we got nothing in our brains. Okay. When we come into recovery, I'm sorry, but we got nothing going on up here. It's just like fight, flight, freeze, spawn. That's it. That's it. So the first 30 days, generally, the first 30 days of recovery, we don't know what our emotions are doing. We are going to start crying during a goofy movie, and we're going to start laughing during like The Notebook. Okay. At the sad part in the end. She dies, by the way. Oh, oops.
Good.
Yeah. But we're not going to understand why we're doing it. We're still like getting back on track. Some of us in that first like 14 days, we're still detoxing.
Yeah.
Like officially detoxing. Some of us, it takes longer than that 30 days to officially detox.
Isn't it like 4 years before meth comes out of your system or something like that?
No,
Like
that's
completely?
way too long. Well, maybe,
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know. I'll have to look that up. Maybe we'll create a whole episode on that. But the reality of very baby recovery, like you're not even a toddler yet, baby recovery is your body still has the drug in it. Your brain has a clean slate of nothing in it, no recovery tools right away. And you know, hey, do you want to go out for dinner? Yeah. What can I get out of it? Oh, they're going to
Yeah.
feed me. Okay. So then we look at the next set of 30 days, which is our 60-day key tag. And by that point, if you are in a treatment facility, you've had 60 days worth of residential treatment, which is typically how long residential is. So you are learning about the neuroscience of addiction. You are kind of learning how to set some boundaries, but the boundaries that you're learning are solely based in just say no to drugs. We haven't learned yet the true application of that boundary in how we process our own lives, what we do with our bodies, as far as what we let other people do to our bodies. All we're getting is this is why you should not do drugs in that first 60 days. What's that next key tag? 90 days? Yeah. So that 90 days, if you're in a 90-day treatment program, typically this is between 71 and 90 days. They say, hey, good for you. You found some recovery housing, so it's time to fly the coop. But we're going to put you in what's called an IOP program, intensive outpatient. It means that we're going to give you some freedom of life, see how you roll with it, but we're still going to give you structure because you don't know yet your full structure of life. Go get that job, ease into it. Easy does it. Easy does it, because too much stress is going to say, oh, it's easier not to feel the stress. So if we throw in at that 90-day mark, right as we're starting IOP, oh, that person loves me. Our brain at that point that front part of the brain has just started to turn back on. But again, it's going to say, do I want the blue candy or do I want the green candy? Oh, I want them both. But you can only have one, but I still want them both. Oh, I can't make the decision. Now I'm going to I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh my God. And then we spend the whole day thinking, why didn't I just get the blue candy? And we didn't get any candy. So we're still trying to understand, like, what impact does the decision have on our recovery? So then the next key tag is 180 days. So after 9 months, 180 days. So is that right? Yeah, that's right. 6 months.
Yeah.
Six
There we
month
go.
key
Just
tag.
use that.
Yep, 6 months. Half a year. At half a year, we are 3 months into an IOP program, which is great. But we still have another 3 months to go in that IOP program from typical treatment facilities. Okay. So within that IOP program, we now have 3 months worth of boundary setting, coping skills, real life application. We probably have a case manager or a counselor that we're meeting with regularly that's helping us, pay child support back, get our license back, all the things. We're building our recovery tool belt. And again, if we throw in a distraction, well, fuck the license. I don't really need the license. They got a license. They'll just pick me up. I don't need to build myself any further, and we start dropping those things because someone else can do it for us. That's that codependency part. So then after that 6 months, there's the year. Is there one in between there? 9 months. Yep. 9 months. Is that right? Yep. 9 months. So I know in one of the fellowships, they go, oh, baby, not my baby. Well, guess what? At 9 months, the front brain, the prefrontal cortex, it is now it's starting to make decisions again on its own. The decisions are now starting to become based in I want, but I don't want. So it's starting to understand the difference of, okay, well, I do want to feel good, but I don't want to feel good like this. I want to feel good because purpose. And 9 months is usually when we start finding like, okay, this is the direction that I want to go in my life. So imagine at 9 months, we find our purpose. And also, by the way, 9 months is usually when we hit about the third step for some of us. Well, third step is take my will in my life, guide me in my recovery, which is my purpose. So we're just figuring out our recovery right then and there. Hopefully I don't get flagged for that for copyright issues, but because I just said that. But anyways, we find purpose. Imagine jumping into a relationship right then and there, and all of a sudden, purpose goes out the window. Super easy.
I don't recommend it.
Yeah. Or we turn around and there's somebody that's still in treatment. Oh, 3 months. Hey, I remember you. Oh, yeah, you're hot. Let's do this. And now we're at 9 months trying to support someone that's got 3 months. What? Yeah.
It's like collision course. Like,
yeah, big collision course. So after that 9 months, we finally get to that year mark. And we have the house back, the kids back. Or we're finishing the end of our CPS case. We have a good job. Some of us have started coursework, maybe to be a counselor. Maybe I know this from personal experience. Although I did my coursework really early, but I was working on mine at like 4 months. I want to be a counselor tomorrow. but some of us, we get to that year point and we're starting to like be going to meetings regularly. We are figuring out, like, we're contacting, someone that's helping us. We're creating a network of people. We've already graduated from IOP, some of us. But we're learning to stand on our own 2 feet, officially stand on our own 2 feet. And at that point, because we have all of that recovery behind us, we are able to establish that boundary and keep it strong for the most part, So, and this is something that I like to shock my groups with. I always tell them, or I ask them the question, how long is early recovery? So I want to ask you, how long is early recovery?
Ooh. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I always kind of feel like I'm learning something new every day. So early recovery for me is kind of almost every day. But
It is 2 to 5 years.
2 to 5 years,
2 to 5 years. Yeah.
that's crazy.
Because some of us are still experiencing post acute withdrawal syndrome 2 years after we got into recovery. Some
That
of
makes
us,
sense.
our brain, our neural pathways, recovery is different for everyone. So when you look at like the strength of the brain, I mean, it's different for every person. It has the same capabilities. It just, how we approach it and what we're putting into our brains, if we're setting boundaries, all of these things are tools that we learn in recovery to help those neural pathways grow stronger, quicker over time. But if we are constantly distracted with, a relationship, this, sex, this, money, this, all these other things in early recovery, those neural pathways aren't growing that fast. They're not restructuring or, sorry, Nicole Labor, reconstructing as as quick over time. Ugh. That's the second episode that I did that in. There it is. Um, um, so yeah, early recovery can be considered 2 to 5 years. At what point is it considered long-term recovery? This one's going to blow your brain.
I mean, out of pure guess, I would have said 10 years, but
Close. 12 years.
really?
12 years is considered long-term. It's actually 10 to 12 years. Yeah.
So
Because
what's
by
in
that
between
point,
that?
in between that, you are still considered mid-term recovery. We're
Okay.
in the middle stage of recovery. So that
Okay.
5 to 7, 7 to 10 is middle recovery. Long-term recovery, you are you're taking vacations, you're working, you've saved money, all the things. Your meeting attendance might be 2 meetings a week, if that. You are consistently, meditating. You're see, look at that. Oh wait, listeners, you can't see that, but Nick just like, oh God. And same here. I can't imagine not going to like 2 meetings a week right now, which I hit 2 or 3 meetings. That's kind of a lie. 2 meetings at most right now. But yeah, so that's another episode, I think, meeting attendance. The point is, it can take up to 12 years for your brain to fully redevelop and still need work, constant maintenance. Yeah.
That's insane. I did not know that. That is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So that's why we say, like, that first year, what are you doing? What are you doing? Work on your damn self. Keep it in your pants. Keep your shirt on. Because what you're doing is you are going to screw up the next 12 years every single time. Every single time. Now, there is a caveat to this because there are some people that go into recovery, into treatment, jail, treatment. Does this sound familiar?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, me.
Hey, well.
And I'm not the only case here, okay? There are some people that go into recovery and they are already in a relationship. That's valid, but we also have to consider, is the other partner also willing to work in their own recovery while you work on your own? And we talked about this last week where that codependency, it's got to stop because what they're doing is that what they're doing, what you are doing is what you're doing. And then both of those things come together and we call that interdependency. But if that shit ain't strong, then that can inhibit the recovery process. So there's a lot of variables attached to that. In therapy, that also helps, whether it's marriage counseling or individual therapy, whatever it is, to help boost those recovery tools. So that's why, in the longest nutshell I've ever gone through on one simple little topic, that is why we don't get into a relationship in that first year. Isn't that wild?
I mean, that it makes total sense, 100%. When you break it down like that, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
I wish I would have listened to my sponsor.
oops, oopsies, oops. Okay, so how do we avoid being 13 stepped?
Work on oneself. I mean, learning, again, my own experience, um, learning how to love oneself trickles down into creating those boundaries, knowing what you want, knowing what you don't want, knowing what you're willing to stand for and what you will and what you won't stand for. I mean, that all plays a huge factor into that.
Yeah, 100%. And that initial recovery phase is I don't know how to love myself. I hear that a lot, but the reality is, yeah, you do. You love yourself to be here. I mean, you might not feel that, but something said, okay, I need to be here at least today. So you have the tool already to begin doing that. But that's why we say connect with people that are not going to take advantage of your early recovery. Connect with people that understand recovery. You know, don't just fit in. Make sure you're listening to how people are commenting. If you're at a meeting, who's your trusted circle? And find those people quick in early recovery, because those are the people that are going to help you. Those are the people that are going to point out or pull your inventory, so to speak, and say, whoa, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Oh, you got his phone number and all of a sudden you're going on a date. Did you do your step work? No. Well, then what are you doing going on a date? You better get back in your room and do some step work. Or did you finish what your counselor gave you for homework? Did you finish your relapse prevention plan? No. Then what are you doing? And guess that's the tough love approach, but that's the reality. Sometimes it has to be that serious, where it's, you are going to fray from your path of recovery the moment that you start thinking that that's your validation by getting into a relationship, or doing whatever, or constantly seeking that personal what is it? Internal validation through an external means.
Yeah.
Putting something inside does not equal validation. We know what I just said there. We know what that means. Get your
Yes.
validation from other sources. Prevent the 13 stepping. Stand up for yourself. Set those boundaries. And you'll start to love who you're becoming. And it grows stronger.
Well, I have a question, Will.
Mm-hmm.
How how can we balance healthy relationships with protecting vulnerable newcomers? How can we do that?
So I see this, actually, I hear this a lot at different meetings that I go to. They have a statement that they'll read, or they'll just straight up say, predatory behavior is not allowed, and if we see it, you will be removed from this meeting.
Mm.
Period. But it is also a responsibility. So when you look at, there's a clinical side to this, as well as like the 12-step fellowship-y side. For the clinical side, we have ethical boundaries. Our duty is to do no harm regardless, because we know it's a vulnerable population. But when it comes to like clientele doing whatever they're doing with other clientele, our job is to give them the tools to set those boundaries and whatever. While we cannot stop it from happening, because we're not, in the housing while they're there, our job is to hand them those tools, teach them those boundaries. When it comes to the mutual support side, it is the responsibility of those who are practicing a program to speak up when that behavior is seen, and I think that's part of the problem, and why 13 stepping exists. We're never going to be able to stop it. It's not like, oh, we're going to save everybody. We can't. But it's our responsibility to point it out when it happens and pull that member aside and say, hey, what are you doing? Like, leave them alone, and help protect that newcomer. We were newcomers once, and if someone would have done that for us, that would have been awesome. I can't say it happened to me, but I think you can relate where if somebody would have pulled someone aside and said, hey, whoa, 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 you need to focus on
Yeah.
your own recovery. Stop thinking that you're going to, get in their pants just because you can help them. That's coercion, you know? So yeah, I think that's the responsibility. That's the answer to that is speak up. It's 2026. This isn't hush hushville in 1960. We need to speak up on this stuff and point it out when it's happening, and not as a means to like insult them, but if we're going to speak up about it, also be willing to teach, coach, show them the right way. You know, that's where it's
Right.
at.
If you see something, say something. Yeah.
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 The age old rule. If you see it,
Yeah.
speak it. Tell somebody about it. Get an adult.
Because a lot of people don't say anything because a lot of people are used to snitches get stitches kind of thing. But the thing is that, like you said, we're not in that time anymore. And yeah,
No.
it's still kind of a thing. Like, people come from jail to recovery, and that's what the mentality that they take with them. But recovery is not about that. Like, those places are not about that. Like, it's about getting better. It's about not 13 stepping. It's like, it's
Yeah.
not about whatever. It's those rules don't apply there, or they shouldn't anyway.
I I want to tell two stories.
Yes, please
Okay.
do.
So the first one, sponsorship at first was a little difficult for me because the um and the people that came to me and said, "Hey, will you be my sponsor?" Were the same people in active addiction that I would have 13 step. Hard to say that, but it's true. Um, and being able to set those boundaries and not take advantage of someone that was vulnerable, that is difficult. And again, I had to speak that. I also had to tell them, like, hey, just so you're aware, I have to set a boundary. It was not easy. Not easy at all. Okay. And I think you know this because I've told you about this.
Yes.
As far as like, I have to set a boundary. How do I do this? Um, and there it was again. If I don't know how to set the boundary, I can reach out to someone and say, I am struggling with this and I feel like I want to do this. How do I set my boundary? You know? The second story, and this just happened recently, um, a relationship that had ended, that I watched, I mean, very public, like fallout. Um, I was at this event and the person was there and they were like, "Oh yeah, I broke up and I'm miserable." And I said, "Well, yeah, you probably should be. You stayed in it for, 2 fucking years or a year, much longer than you should have. You should have been gone the first instance that, they went back out. What? They're like, "Oh, well, I
Yeah.
cared." And, well, no, dude, I've seen so much of this that what you're telling me right now is you are wallowing. Like, it's over. It is over. And you had all the signs, all the people that told you, like, this was already done. You were trying to support their recovery and at risk to your own, and I did it in the most non-trauma informed way, but, it was fellowship sites. It was just like, hey, give it to you cut and dry. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to sit here and pity with you. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You knew
Yeah.
that this day was coming, and you knew that this was going to feel like this, and it wasn't working. But you were beating a dead horse. you know, you both were. So that's yeah. There's no reason to put yourself at risk or others at risk. I understand the feel good aspect. Yeah, we're human beings and we want connection, but there's a right way to do it, and you can get a hell of a lot more
Mhm.
connection out of being honest with people and being, you know, a little bit vulnerable and sharing, your pain and all those things and connect on that level where we're not involving, an entire relationship behind it. Why don't we connect as friends first? Let's just connect
Yeah.
as a friend because that's truly what I lacked. I have found more friends in recovery, and I'm not saying more friends as in quantity. I have found meaningful I have a very close knit circle, my people.
Mhm.
And that's what I truly was seeking. Everything else, all the feel good and stuff. Yeah. Like everything else is wonderful, but by finding those friends in recovery and strengthening that circle that I have, it also helped me in my own personal relationship on how to
Yeah.
speak honestly and set those boundaries too, because I was working on me. For me, that's it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's good to have that central group of people that you can rely on and that you can talk to. And you have to be careful because there are, you let one person in that's just, in it for their own personal gain. It's hard to create that boundary and be like, okay, look,
Yeah.
like, but it's, and I want to say something without it being copyright, the copyright or anything like that. But,
Do it.
the broader the base,
Yeah.
like what we say,
The higher the point of
um,
freedom.
the higher the point of freedom. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's
Absolutely.
very true. And like you said, me personally, I have found some really good people in recovery and really good friends, people that I talk to at least every day or try to at least once a day, who we're on volleyball teams together. We have game nights. We go out to dinner. We celebrate their birthdays. We celebrate their years,
Yeah. We start
their years
podcasts
clean.
together.
Yeah, we do podcasts together.
Yeah. Out of nowhere, we're just like, hey, let's start a podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
this.
Let's do all the things.
But it's those friendships that are so meaningful and so grateful to have today. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. I agree with that. I want to take a moment. I think for those of us listening, the the episode discussion, the topic on 13 stepping to wrap that up is know your people, know your boundaries, and if you are in early recovery, latch on for support, but don't be afraid to find what you know. Like be able to build your support and then be able to stand on your own.
Mhm.
Big time.
Absolutely.
There's other apples. You don't need that one person's apple all the time. You can get help other places. You can talk to other people. Um, the behaviors can change.
Mhm.
So,
But we have to learn to crawl before we can walk,
oh
everybody.
yeah, for real. And if you know that someone is crawling, would you please just let them crawl? Don't smother them. 13 steppers. Hui. So I want to take a quick moment for an ad break, and then we've got some exciting things coming up that I wanted to share. So the ad break time.
Yay.
Colors Across the Sky. Colors Across the Sky, A Journey of Hope is my personal memoir. I wrote it over the course of the last year. It was finally published on last Wednesday. Yep, 2 Wednesdays. I don't remember. July 15th. There we go. Oh my God. July
Some Wednesday.
15th. Yeah, it was either last Wednesday. I don't know. The time blurs together so quickly. Recovery. Yay. So right now, my book release is on August 15th, 2026. It's going to be held at the JADFA House in Akron, 916 Kenmore Boulevard from 12:30 to 2:30. And the JADFA House is a recovery community organization, just a dad from Akron. And they help the community of Akron, the Kenmore Boulevard community for sure, um, with local resources, support, meetings, um, access to transportation. They will set up transportation for you, which is really cool. Um, Great organization. I am so in love with the mission and the passion that they have over at the JADFA House. And because of that, I have partnered with them. And every copy that is sold over the next year, so basically today until August 15th, 2027, 5% of any of those sales goes back to the JADFA House to help them and support their mission. So I am extremely excited about that.
That's
Um,
so awesome.
yeah, I'm so grateful for that. I will make sure that I put the links to the book as well as the JADFA House website in the episode description for everyone to go check out. Again, that book release is August 15th, 2026. It's coming up.
It's a good read. You should really read it.
Oh my God, you read it. That's right.
Yes,
So we
indeed.
have a few exciting things coming up.
Huge. Woo.
So we have some exciting things coming up. We have expanded this podcast. So we originally were putting out an episode, originally, like it was so long ago. A few weeks ago, we were just recording on Sundays and popping out an episode on Mondays, a weekly episode. And based on our guest list and the want to also showcase our dynamic, I guess, so to speak,
Yes.
we moved forward in a different direction, and we are now going to be pumping out an episode on Fridays as well as Mondays. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are not overextended, I promise.
We are important people now.
I don't know about all that, but maybe it's just that we have a lot to say. Maybe. So on Fridays, we're going to have an episode. It's a weekly episode. It'll be with Nick and myself. We'll have our continued like topics that we don't really talk about a lot. Or we're going to dive deep into topics that maybe don't get talked about enough. And then typically on Mondays, it might not be every single week, but the goal is that on Mondays we do have a guest on our episode or on our podcast to join us. And right now, our upcoming guests, this is exciting. This coming Monday, we have Kaylee Hoskins, who is the CEO of SkyPoint Recovery in Fairlawn. And we've gone live with her.
I love her, and she is freaking gorgeous. I cannot wait to have her on the show.
She's fabulous. But that was a split second decision, like last minute. And I think it was yesterday. I called her up and was like, Kaylee, what are you doing, this weekend? Like, do you want to record an episode with us? And she was like, oh my God, yes. So
Yay.
I'm so excited. And then the following week, actually, just so we're aware, the topic on this coming Monday's episode is what makes a good treatment center. And we're going to expose some of the disparities in treatment centers, not as a means to point out which treatment centers are which, but just to point out the difference between, what makes a treatment center work and what are some of the things that inhibit recovery, where maybe recovery is a difficult process based on the treatment center dynamics as well. And then the following week, we are going to have Pej Algamandan from Pej's Recovery Corner. He is out in California. He is oh my gosh, I hope I say this right. He is an interventionist and also a family recovery coach. And we are so excited to have him on. And then it's going to be wild. But we're going to hear a little bit about Pej's recovery journey, who Pej was before recovery, what does intervention look like? Why is it so misinterpreted or displayed incorrectly, like in shows like Intervention? So we're going to see and hear exactly what intervention is all about. And then the following Monday, we have a very special guest. Not that no one else is special, but we're all special. Christine Russo. Who is the sister of Dominic Russo, who was killed along with his friend Damian Flanagan in a vehicular accident. That was actually, we're not going to call it accident, in vehicular manslaughter. That was brought on by Dominic's girlfriend, Mackenzie Sharilla. So she is going to join us, and we're very excited about that. But we're going to take a look at what recovery from grief looks like from Christine Russo. And I'm very excited, and I think that's going to be a very special episode. Very grateful to have her on. So
yes,
we got a lot coming up. Yes. Got a lot coming up.
Yeah, and that doesn't even put a dent in our guest list.
It's so true. There's more coming September and October. Also, we are going to be August 14th, the day before the book release. Colors Across the Sky, as well as Recovery Unfiltered with Nick and will be at the ARC Recovery Fest in Akron, which I am totally looking forward to. So if you are in the Akron area, please stop down and see us. We are considering going live from the Recovery Fest. So I'm really excited about that. And then, of course, the book release is going to be on August 15th. Then I think, September 12th, we are going to be in Port Huron, Michigan, which is going to be wild. It's the Blue Water Recovery Fest. Yeah, Blue Water Recovery Fest up in Port Huron, Michigan. And again, we're going to have Colors Across the Sky as well as the podcast up there, Recovery Unfiltered with Nick and Will. And we are absolutely going to be going live from that fest. So a lot of good
This is
stuff.
so nuts.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Just 4 weeks in.
I know. I know. But very grateful for it. I've learned not to ask how or why. I'm just grateful that it is.
I'm very grateful for all the followers. I'm very grateful for all the guests that are going to be coming on. I'm grateful for you, Will. Personal side, love you. Personal
you.
side, I've been kind of searching for something in my
Mhm.
life, and this podcast came right at the right time. I think this is exactly what I was looking for. So thank you for helping make that dream come true.
You're helping me make my dream come true too. I mean, this was something that I thought about, a year ago. No, probably longer than that, almost 2 years ago. And it was with someone that was in treatment with me, and that was a consideration. But at the time, the way that things went, sometimes I don't make the decisions. Sometimes the man upstairs does. A lot of times, most of the time, the big cheese is the one that makes the big decisions for me. But this is what happened, and I am incredibly grateful for it, and grateful that you are part of it. So this is some big stuff. I was not expecting it to be this big, but here we go. So
Go.
bring it on. And if it's helping someone, then we've done our job.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right, let's close this thing out. I'm so talked out, I think. But if you are listening, we do also have a Patreon. I will put that link in the episode description. If you like what you hear, please head over to Patreon, subscribe. It helps us truly. This podcast is not free to produce. We are grateful that we can, but it is not free to produce. So a simple $5 a month subscription helps us with access to pay our host, riverside.com, as well as upkeep on our equipment and to be able to continue doing this. So we thank you so much for your support. Thank you for listening in tonight. Today. I just gave it away. We recorded at night. But thank you all so much for listening.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Recovery Unfiltered podcast
With Nick Mantosi
and Will Cashman. We love you all. Put a big old smile on your face, and we will hear from you next week. Whew.